everybody, Rusted Ground here, and welcome back to Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings. We are here in Vergen. We decided to go with Roach, and we got here in Vergen. We met Saskia and Philippa Eilhart. We joined a...
Don't let her die, Valette.
We joined a war council in the previous episodes, and after the war council, Saskia was poisoned, and so our job got a little bit harder at the moment. We are still looking for Triss, but we also have to find a way to help Saskia and cure her poisoning. So before we go anywhere, I'd just like to take a few minutes and go through, first of all, through the talents and how I spent them. So I decided to go and put 1 point here in Schemer and have basically the speed of vigor regeneration during combat increased by 10%. Then I went and put some points into the magic tree here, and I unlocked the enhanced Igni sign, the enhanced Yrden sign, and the magical life force, because it gives you vitality plus 50. And also I unlocked the magical vigor for +1 vigor, and I'm really thinking about going for the second level here. Now the good thing about this tree is that we have enhanced Yrden sign here, which is a mutatable talent, so we can put a mutagen in here if we wanted to. So yeah, that is pretty cool. But I think I'm going to go and go into vigor +2 here once we get a new talent point, and then we'll also look into this. I'm really considering and actually going into violence here as well to get some increased sword damage. But yeah, we'll do everything as we go along. And for the time being, let me see here, what type of mutagens do we actually have now? So if I go here, we have, what do we have? Greater Vitality mutagen, which gives you +10 vitality. Range mutagen, sounds interesting. Strength mutagen, armor +2. Enhancement mutagen, adrenaline generation on hitting foes +3%. This one sounds quite interesting. Yeah, this one sounds quite interesting. So I'm not going to use the lesser mutagens at all, and I think I'm just gonna sell them. But for now, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything yet. I'm waiting for like new mutagens, just to see, once we face off against some enemies in this new area, see what they drop. Okay, so what else can I? What did I want to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to let's look at the quests that we have. So subterranean life, to call Philippa Eilhart a healer is like calling a drowner an advertiser for swimming. Nonetheless, Philippa was a sorceress, a powerful one at that. Though healing was not her speciality, she could help the poisoned Saskia. To create a cure, she needed special ingredients, a dwarven immortal among them. Geralt started the search with asking one of his dwarven friends staying in Vergen, Zoltan, for he was said friend tarried in the local inn. Okay, so that's what we should do. We should go and talk to Zoltan. Hunting magic. Having been poisoned during the council meeting, Saskia was dying, and nearly everyone who supported her cause now prayed for her health. Anger among her allies, however, were those who did not believe in gods, or at least in divine intervention. Lady Eilhart, the kind of woman who rolled her sleeves up and started casting spells when things got tough, fit this description. So when Geralt learned about that a magical artifact was one of the ingredients for the Dragon Slayer's cure, he reasoned that Philippa would be the ideal consultant. Therefore, he decided to have a chat with her at her house. Okay. Royal blood. It's a shame Philippa didn't demand the crocodile's tears and the sorcerer's smile as ingredients of her antidote for Saskia. I believe the Witcher would have had an easier time obtaining either of those. As it was, he had to acquire some royal blood, literally. There were only 2 potential donors in the area, Henselt and Stennis. Huh, Okay. Where is Triss Merigold? Further reading will tell you that Geralt accomplished a lot in Erden. He fought wars, killed monsters, obstructed kings, and caused unhealthy arousal in sorceresses. You have to keep in mind, however, that his priority was finding Triss. Sorceresses, as all other women do, keep in packs. Thus, in his search, Geralt headed for Philippa Eilhart's house. Unhealthy arousal, however, was out of the question in that case. Okay, the eternal battle. In the world of wraiths, only those relics are ghosts the ghosts had a connection to in life have any meaning. After conferring with Philippa Eilhart, Geralt ascertained that he would need items symbolizing ideas linked to war, specifically objects representing hatred, courage, faith, and death. The Witcher thus embarked on a search to find the Dunbanner's standard, believed to be the symbol of death, and for a sword that had belonged to the infamous commander named Vandergrift. Perpetrated... What? Purported to symbolize hatred. Okay. The sorceress promised to find the medallion symbolizing faith and a fragment of a suit of armor that had belonged to the brave Seltkirk. Okay, a matter of life and death. As you already know, Saskia, known to those who loved her as the Virgin of Aedirn, and to those close to King Henselt as the insolent wench, had been poisoned. There are numerous stories about how the Witcher cured the girl, how he climbed a glass mountain and placed a healing kiss on her carmine lips. Well, none of those are true. Several unusual ingredients were needed to prepare the antidote, that is, a rose of remembrance, a dragon's dream, an immortelle, and royal blood. The Witcher began his search for these ingredients. Okay, we also have the Bring It On Vergen here. Stories about dwarven grit convinced the Witcher to take on Yerpen Zirgin and Sheldon Sags. Okay, Skag. So we have... this is the arm wrestling, I believe. Yeah, arm wrestling. Okay, and then we also have the Assassins of Kings and the other quests that we did. Now, let's have a look real quick at locations. So, Chapter 2, Vergen. This town in the north of Aedirn was founded by dwarves who established mines in the surrounding hills. As was their custom, they carved their homes and public edifices directly into rock formations, granting Vergen a unique architectural style. The town was an important trade center, one of the roads through it leading into the country's interior. Humans had also attempted to settle in the area, but the disturbances that plagued the Pontar Valley left most of their villages burned and in ruins. Nevertheless, when we arrived in Vergen, it was teeming with humans in addition to its mainly dwarven population. Saskia's peasant rebels and a group of Aedirnian nobles had made camp there and promptly began to measure each other with menacing glares. Meanwhile, all the groups that had assembled in the area were mistrustful of Yorvet's Scoia'tael, who strove to keep to themselves with unmistakably elven aloofness. Truly, if not for Henselt's army making camp nearby, the whole rabble would have been at each other's throats in no time. Okay, and we also have the battlefield. The sight was not much to behold, even on a sunny day, yet it was here that several years earlier a bloody battle had embedded in a magical cataclysm. Rocky gullies opened into a plain scarred with furrows and craters dug by trebuchet missiles and magical explosions detonated by the sorceress Sabrina Glevisig. Tall reddish grass covered part of the flat land, and rusting armor and bleached bones of the fallen nestled among it. Once the curse was activated, however, a ghastly mist engulfed a section of the battlefield. Within it stretched a world seemingly pulled from a nightmare, a world in which ghosts of the fallen endlessly reenacted the battle that had claimed their lives. Nice. Okay, what about the characters that we met? So, here we go. Let's go. Cecil Burden. When we arrived in Vergen, we learned that the town's elder was named Cecil Bourbon. This former dwarven miner was typical of his kin, realistic, substantive, and possessed of a sober outlook. Vergen needed an administrator like that, so Burden was, beyond all doubt, the right dwarf in the right place. Okay, Skellen Burden. Cecil's nephew, the young Skellen Burden, had been taken in by the alderman after the lad's parents perished in one of the non-human massacres that occurred in Edirn. As friendly, hard-working, and efficient as his uncle, Skellen took it upon himself to act as Vergen's official representative in his uncle's absence, providing all newcomers to the town with any information or assistance they needed. Kalten. Revolutions breed monsters, and Kalten was one beyond all doubt. Embodying the most primitive peasant desires, frustrations, and fears, he was not bound by moral chains. Such people can commit acts most foul, and the list of this once simple farmer's atrocities was long indeed. Ouch. Okay, well, what's going on with Triss here? Triss was kidnapped by Letho, Geralt, and I feared that what he might do to her. Believe me, it was eating me alive, making rest impossible. Searching Sheila's quarters and talking to her neighbor brought more questions than answers. It appeared that Triss had known the woman she had talked to, but the fragments of the conversation recounted to us remained mysterious. Triss had reached Edirn. There was evidence to prove it. Finding her would prove difficult, however. Okay, Dandelion. Obviously, when Geralt decided to continue his search in Vergen, located in a borderland soon to be engulfed by the flames of war, I chose to accompany him, for the Witcher could at times be naive as a child and knew as much about politics as a ghoul knows about cooking. Thus, the chances were slim to none that, bereft of my help, he would manage to find new leads without getting embroiled in some trouble along the way. As his friend, I clearly could not allow that. Vernon Roach here we go. To put it mildly, Roach was irritated with Geralt's decision, and his trust in the Witcher did not grow. Because of his contacts with the Scoia'tael, Geralt lost the chance to work with Vernon Roach. Their ways parted. Okay, we know that. Yorvith, let's see here. Really quickly. Yorvith was loyal towards those who placed their trust in him, and he returned their trust. This was undeniable. His respect for Geralt grew after they freed the prisoners, and the elf would not hesitate to repay the debt he had incurred. When Yorvith chose to fight for free Pontar Valley, when he swore an oath of allegiance to Saskia, he stood alongside the humans defending Vergen. The few trusted his sudden shift in this uncompromising enemy of the Dwyn, an elf responsible for more than one raised village and the tears of more than one mother over a slain son. The squirrel commander had Saskia's full confidence, however, and that put an end to all discussion. Zoltan Shivei, let's see. Zoltan went with us to Vergen and, with enthusiasm worthy of his military past, began training the local militia that would soon see its baptism of fire. Though it appeared they would have a hard time, Zoltan was ready to defend the cause he believed in, fighting at the side of elves and men. Okay, and Bernard Lorido here, let's see what happened to him. Lorido yearned for some spectacular success in his fight against the Scoia'tael. Though his prison barge was overcrowded already, capturing Yorvith remained his deepest desire. This vile individual's duplicity, his fidelity to his purse alone, were apparent to anyone who paused to look at him. His sale of Flotsam, an important trading post to the kingdom of Cadwyn, was to be his crowning swindle, and the provincial ruffian cared little that it would also render him a traitor to his country. Interesting. Henselt. Ooh, here we go. The Witcher once said that in his life he had met thieves who resembled city councillors who were like begging louts, harlots who behaved like princesses who smelled like pregnant cows, and kings who looked like thieves. King Henselt did not look exactly like a thief, but with all due respect, he was not far off. I think we already read through this. just a second. His annexation of Lormark, called Upper Aedirn by its natives at the time when Aedirn was fighting off the Nilfgaardian horde at its southern border, was also considered a theft. The now dead king Demavend judged his deed severely and communicated this in court, yet resonant words. Yet that was not the sole reason for the King Henselt's reputation as an unpleasant person, much bolstered by the monarch's ambitions and quarrels with his neighbors, and by his ruthless politics towards non-humans, whom he persecuted with a passion, squandering his realm's strength and funds. The aging Henselt did not have a living heir, and the rumor was that he had found producing another son somewhere somewhat troublesome. Henselt's virility may have lessened with age, but his ambition certainly had not. The king wanted to wage a war and reclaim Lormark, a province he had already given up once, no matter the cost. Philippa A. Eilhart here. Her qualifications in the area of curses, magic, and supernatural phenomena were undeniable. If there was anyone to help the Witcher in this regard back then, it was certainly Miss Eilhart. Still, I was extremely glad that it was Geralt and not I who was forced to speak with the Tretogor magician. It was Philippa who gave the Witcher the list of the ingredients for the antidote for the poison plaguing Saskia. The knowledge of recipes, ingredients, and the specific properties is always extremely helpful in learning magical arcana, and few could equal Eilhart in that regard. Saskia. Here we go. News had already reached us of the heroic Saskia, the woman who held Kedwen's armies at bay. At the time, however, it all seemed like little more than exaggerated rumors. As with any true hero, there were many incredible tales about Saskia. Some claimed she was invulnerable to fire and had thus survived that terrible battle when Sabrina had rained the very flames of hell down upon the combatants. The girl was also famous for killing a dragon. One would be hard-pressed to find better material for a local hero. Prince Stennis. Okay. After King Demavend's death, Prince Stennis became heir to the Aedirnian throne, at least in name. However, pride and a chilly disposition rarely win the love of one's subjects, and that was very much Stennis' problem. His youth did not strengthen his claim either. Though no one openly questioned the prince's claim to the crown, Stennis did not have enough support to actually have it placed upon his head. Given the situation, sitting out important events would have been political suicide. The War of the Pontar Valley gave him the ideal chance to bolster his position by demonstrating what a good ruler he would make. History has shown time and time again that when a realm is in chaos, deeds rather than words grant one legitimacy in the eyes of one's subjects. Stennis greatly desired to prove himself to equal or superior of the Virgin of Aedirn. He had strong support from the nobility, yet the common folk had few reasons to sympathize with him. Yeah, we still have to find out some more about this guy, but he was the only one that opposed Yorveth's help in the Council of War. Okay, Death Mold. Apart from a few chance encounters at official banquets, Geralt had the occasion to meet and speak more extensively with this sorcerer on Thaned Island during the bloody coup, when all manner of mages jumped at each other's throats and their council and conclave ceased to exist. Deathmold and his brother Drithelm, both in the service of King Esterad of Kovir at the time, attempted to remain neutral as events unfolded. To no avail, however, as these two had allied themselves with Nilfgaard through nothing of the impartiality of others, and many mages simply perished, brought down in fanciful ways by their colleagues' spells or pierced by the arrows of the Scoia'tael summoned to the island by the plotters. Drithelm met just such a fate, while Deathmold saved himself by fleeing. Deathmold then filled the opening for a sorcerer advisor at the court of King Hensel of Kedwen, and proceeded to place all of his abilities at the monarch's disposal. Last but not least, Yerpen Zigrin. Our friendship with Yerpen Zigrin stretches back a long time. It began during the famed hunt for the Golden Dragon, which not only was not caught, but also beat up his hunters. Those events were later described in one of my ballads, and anyone interested in the story should read it. Zigrin, like most of his kin, is characterized not only by his love of gold, but also by his bawdy sense of humor, sober outlook, pragmatism, and loyalty to his friends. Geralt mentioned that he later met Yerpen and his lads in His Majesty's Secret Service, the Majesty in question being Hansalt of Kedwen, for whom they were escorting a secret cargo. Though their own situation was not cheerful at all, they nevertheless aided the Witcher, easily providing that a dwarf won't abandon a friend in need. Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, monsters, yep, that's about it. Okie dokie. Well, I think I'm gonna cut this video here, and we'll continue with the adventures adventure in the next one. I just wanted to take a few minutes and go through, you know, all the updates that we have. Now that we've reached a second area, we're in chapter 2 of the game. So yeah, just wanted to bring everybody up to date. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like. If you didn't, give a dislike. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.